We are live with the Short Term Rental Pros podcast. We are here in Nashville, Tennessee at the STR Wealth Conference. The last few days have been a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie. Last night was a lot of fun. And, I don't know if my energy is where it needs to be this morning, but I'm going to give you guys all I got because today I'm with my boy, Austin. Austin is a Floridian. You can tell if you're watching this by his tan. He has gotten a lot more sun lately than I have in New York. And Austin is going to help you guys today get more co-host clients, optimize your properties, and succeed with short-term rentals in 2024. So I'm super excited to be here with Austin. Man, tell me about yourself. How'd you get into short-term rentals, and how'd you get the portfolio you've got today?
Yeah, brother. Well, first off, thank you for having me on the show. It's good to fucking finally see you, man, in Nashville. We had a long night last night, so I'm glad that we're up and bright and early and shooting this podcast today.
We were on the rooftop overlooking the city of our friend Ryan, who's been on the podcast, accountants.
Yeah.
His Airbnb. He had a little shindig, a little party. So
yeah, he had a little open bar too. So
yeah,
it was a good time.
There's been a few too many open bars, I must say.
You see Ryan, man, there's always an open bar with that guy. But yeah, brother. So let me, I'll break it down a little bit, give you a little bit of background. So I started investing in long-term rentals in Chicago back in 2019. So I had just graduated college, was working in corporate America, and I just kind of very early on in that journey, I was just like, dude, this is it's not what I envisioned for myself. Commuting to work, working 9 to 5, only having the weekends off, and only making $70,000 a year. And I was kind of just all right, I got to figure a way out of this. And dove into a lot of books, a lot of podcasts, and found real estate along the way. And realized, hey, look, there's already a blueprint for real estate. Let's try to figure out this step in the journey. And so I ended up 3 months later buying a house hack. It was a 3-flat, or it could be known as a triplex.
A 3-flat? What are you, British or something? What the heck is that?
Dude, they call it flats apparently in the Midwest or even Chicago. It caught me off guard too when I heard that for the first time. But yeah, so moved in there, house hack that. After 5 months, I was able to pull out $150K. Just because appreciation was going up and I pretty much gutted the whole place. So that really allowed me to then take what I learned there and go back to Florida because COVID had just hit. And as you know, winters up north are incredibly difficult to deal with. So went back to Florida, started buying short-term rentals down there, bought them in a few different cities. You may know West Palm Beach, Hollywood, Tampa area. And kind of just ended up growing the portfolio there. And then interest rates started going up, like everybody knows. And I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and transition over to managing other people's Airbnbs and just keep the cash flow going on. So this is a little bit about how I started and where I'm at today.
Got it. So you started in the Midwest, which is where you were living at the time. Your corporate job brought you to the Midwest?
Yeah. So I was a Miami boy for a while, always lived in Florida. And I was like, I want a big city. I either want to go to New York, I want to go to Chicago. Didn't. I
guess you guys listening, Miami's not a big city.
Yeah.
It's a little beach town.
Yeah, just a little beach town, you guys. Not much going on there. No, all jokes aside, yeah, I wanted to go somewhere new. So I was like, I'm going to take my life to Chicago and move there in the summertime. Beautiful. November hit, and I was like, why the hell did I move to Chicago? It was just, it was way too cold.
Okay, so you moved to Chicago. It was cold. Was it also it's cold? I'm working this corporate job.
Yeah.
Not my favorite thing in the world. Perhaps there's there's an alternative to this.
Yeah.
So I guess what was the light bulb move, or light bulb moment that pushed you into real estate, short-term rentals, entrepreneurship? And then what was the point, I guess, going from there, that realization, what got you to the point? I'm assuming you've quit your full-time job to this point. Yeah. What got you to that point?
Yeah, brother. So it was, so the best way to describe this, so you were in sports, you played college basketball, and I was going through a rotational program in wealth management for the bank at this time. And there was a gentleman, I don't really remember his name, but he was in his mid-50s and he played professional football back in the day. And I just remember looking across the desk at him, and he just always had his head down, just always kind of sad and kind of depressed a little bit. I just kind of told myself, I was like, I never want to be in that situation. I want to figure out a way to do that. So a week later, I'm walking from, it's called the Loop or the train, to my office. And I kind of just stop in my tracks one day and I just look around and there's people in their 30s, their 40s, 60s, and they're all doing the same thing as me. They're like commuting to work, working this job, and then going home to enjoy 2 days off every single week. And that was really my aha moment. And I just stopped there and I just said, hey, look, if I don't do something to change right now, then I'm going to be doing this for the next 40 years until I retire. So that was kind of like my push into entrepreneurship. And then along the way, through books and podcasts, I found real estate. And then it was a snowball effect after that first property.
God, yeah. Before this podcast had even started, Austin had listened to it. And his aha moment was, I'm just joking. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so you first initially leveraged that corporate job, that W-2 to start buying. You were buying in the Midwest. So I'm going to take a gander here that the purchase prices were not too high. Interest rates were low.
Yeah,
so the barrier to entry was not.
Exactly. I think it was, so my interest rate was like 2.75 or 3%. Purchase price was $320,000. So I was able to get into there for like 20 grand. So I just
did an FHA loan.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, they had like a conventional loan that you could like house hack with 5% down.
Oh, okay.
So the PMI like fell off, so I didn't have to like refinance.
Yeah, FHA, you've got a bunch of fees and stuff that are tacked on it. Granted, in hindsight, I'm actually totally off topic here, but we had some properties that we were like kind of ideating between FHA versus conventional, and then that we saw the fee schedule on the FHA and it got really high, and we were like, oh, conventional, we're gonna for like similar house hacky situations. But then in hindsight, I'm like, dang, FHA loans can be assumed.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Right now, you see people sell their property with like the FHA loan as an asset, and I'm like, damn. I would never have thought about that at the time. And obviously, I didn't. But I'm like, in hindsight,
exactly.
FHA, because people literally feel like paying a huge premium on properties just because they can assume someone's FHA loan.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, you see that with the VA loans as well?
Yeah, you can assume
they're
VA
so
loans.
low as well,
and they're like 2% loans.
Yeah, I'm just like, dude, I gotta get some of those.
Yeah,
how do I find
my brother's got he's in the military, so he's got himself a couple VA loans.
Yeah, and what's great with those, because the interest rate is so low, you can if you're trying to help somebody find a property to buy, like their purchase price is so much higher because that interest rate is so much lower. And I didn't think about that too, but a buddy was looking at buying a property with a VA loan, and he brought that up to me. So different ways to leverage the system.
Exactly. So so you started buying yourself.
Yep.
You got your first. Did you short-term rental that first house hack, or what
no? So that one. So I lived in that top unit with my girlfriend at the time, and then I was personally trying to rehab the bottom 2 units myself. And I learned very quickly I'm not handy, and I was getting frustrated, and it was like impacting my relationship. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to hire a contractor. Hired a contractor, paid a stupid amount of fees, and then for the first one, and then when I went to the bottom one, I ended up finding a handyman. It was like
Miami boy can't use a hammer.
Yeah, I can't, man.
He's gonna kiteboard and
you just see me trying to put down the LVP. I'm like cursing down there. I'm yelling, like banging my hands up, trying to fit pieces together. They're not matching. I'm just like, dude, I gotta
yeah. Hey, you learn what you're good and what you're not good at.
Yeah, exactly. But I've seen you on social media actually putting in like the sweat equity on the properties too.
I have but I'm not gonna act like I get how it works, so I'm like, but in terms of fitting the little pieces and the patience of like exact precision on things, like I don't have patience.
You don't have it, dude. That was my thing too. I'm just like, drive me to drink, man. I mean, like, dude, this piece won't fit.
I'll demo something. I like demoing.
Yeah,
that's fun. Just
the sledgehammer out. Yeah, that's the good part.
They're like, oh, we're gonna charge $2,000 to demo something. I'm like, nah,
dude, come here.
Yeah, give me a sledgehammer,
and we can blow off some steam too.
Maybe that says something else about it.
Dude, that's another topic. Was another pod or deeper issues, right?
Exactly. Okay, so got that house hack, started real estate. You started seeing. I'm assuming you started like, oh, this is no joke.
Yeah.
That I guess from that first one, what got you to the second one? Like, what was how'd you get into short-term rentals after the house hack?
Yeah, dude. So when I moved down to because that first property, when I moved out, I'm cash flowing about $2,000 a month,
which is insane for a long-term rental.
I know. I was like, dude, this is ridiculous. So I go down to Florida, so I'm looking for long-term rentals, and I'm just like, dude, these numbers don't make sense because that same property I was buying in Chicago is like $500,000-$600,000 in Florida.
Yeah.
So numbers, I was like cash flow maybe a couple $100. I'm just like, dude, it's not what I want to do. So my real estate agent at the time had a short-term rental, and dude, she was doing like a stupid amount of like money. And this is like right before STRs kind of blew up. So like 2020, like right on like the verge. And I'm just like, dude, like, so I told her, I was like, hey, look, I want to try to find a purchase price around like $400,000. And I want to be able to make $2,000 a month in net income. That's what I'm doing in Chicago. I just want to do that out here. And she just like laughs. She's just like, $2,000 a month, like, ha, ha, ha. Like, you're going to do so much more. I'm just like, all right, well, I'll see it when I believe it. So she's showing me like her Airbnb. I'm just like, all right, well, I'm willing to take this chance real quick and buy this first short-term rental, do the rehab, as well as buy all the furniture. I use Facebook Marketplace because I'm being cheap at the time.
I've been there.
I don't know anything about short-term rentals, so I'm just like, you know what?
Been there,
buy everything.
Yeah.
I'm picking everything up myself, doing a little bit of the labor myself, hire the handyman to put everything together. And then we launch like Easter time. And then 2 days later, I have a booking for $9,000.
Okay.
And like, that's when the light bulb goes off. Mm-hmm. And it was like for a 30-day booking. I'm just like, dude, this is insane. She was right the whole time. Like, why have I not been looking at short-term rentals like sooner? So then after that, it just was a snowball effect and kept on like rolling the dice. And I tried to, originally I was just focusing on West Palm, but I wanted to like branch out and see if I could find like a better spread for my numbers. So that brought me down to like Hollywood. And honestly, that property didn't end up working out. And then I entered Tampa. That property is doing great, but like it's just trial and error at the end of the day.
Yeah. So I have 2 properties in the West Palm area.
Okay.
That got one in October of 2021.
Yeah.
And one in February, March, March 2022.
Okay.
And I want to get into, well, your transition to leveraging other people's properties. Mm-hmm. But first, as you know, you guys know, everyone who tunes in, I probably once an episode kind of like rip on Florida, for a multitude of reasons. So I want to take the time to, be consistent on that front.
Okay.
But yeah, so we got properties and, things the first year, like absolutely crushed, like insanely good. Mm-hmm. But then, a couple things. One, like on an expense side, the insurance premiums in Florida have gone kabuts, which like on it, when I underwrite, I don't underwrite for insurance premiums doubling, tripling, quadrupling.
Yeah. And,
not knowing what they're going to be next year.
Yeah.
In addition, Florida's gotten, South Florida in particular, like it's gotten pretty competitive.
Yeah.
Like we were like, when we launched our property, I was like, we got the nicest property in this entire area. Like we were competing against Uncle Bob.
Yeah.
But I was like, dang, Uncle Bob, he balled out on this next one.
Yeah. He saw the income. He's like, dude, I'm not a little cat anymore.
Well, like, all right, we got to put the putt in.
Yeah.
And I was joking with Taylor and Sabrina at TechVestor, whose podcast I think maybe the precursor to this one, depending on the order, but they came in like to south, like they came into Southwest Florida and Southeast Florida, and I'm like looking at my area and I keep seeing like Sabrina's listings pop on TechVestor. They make such good listings, like they pimp out their properties. But I was like, all right, that explains. So yeah, Florida is like for us has been like our steepest. Things are still good, we bought it, 500 making 100, like it's still, but they were crushing, like they were. So that being said, like, have you seen Florida get more competitive? And
dude, it's crazy. Like, every point that you just made is completely true. Like, interest rates shot up, or not. Interest rates shot up all across the board, but
Florida home prices have also gone up.
Yeah, exactly. So insurance is like the biggest factor that people don't take into account, or they should be taking into account, because if you don't shop around for your insurance, like I know some people that are paying like $20,000 like a year in insurance for short-term rentals, which does not make sense. Like I always shop around my insurance. So my insurance for my short-term rentals and liability coverage is somewhere usually sitting around like $500 a month, and like I have a big enough spread where it makes sense. But you made a good point about home prices like going up in Florida. So there's a pro and a con. There's a pro and a con to that as well. So the con to that is like, it's harder to enter that market right now and like make the spread that you were making in 2020, 2021. But at the same time, like in my opinion, South Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, West Palm Beach has like a huge appreciation play right now.
Oh yeah,
I think Miami,
sure.
and you should not be buying on appreciation only. But like if you think long term, like Miami, in my opinion, I think is going to end up turning into LA. So those home prices are just getting like ridiculous. Like there's so many issues with affordable housing now in Miami that people are literally getting these sheds from Home Depot, putting them in their backyard and charging $1,500 like a month to rent that. So if you think about that, and they can't keep building, there's nowhere else to be able to build in Miami.
Yeah,
so
we've got ocean. Let's
Yeah.
do some Dubai type stuff and pour some sand on the water.
Yeah, exactly. But if you can make your numbers like make sense from a design perspective, if you're spending like, for example, I hired it's Bridget bitch. I think you know Bridget, right?
Yeah.
I hired her for my last property, and as long as you have the money to be able to spend on design, you can make those numbers work, and then in the long run, you'll get that appreciation play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to scare people, and I've seen new properties pop up that are crushing it.
Yeah.
You just do have to set them up like extremely well.
Yeah.
Like there's no setting up a plain Jane property in
100%.
Florida. Like you have to make it
Yeah.
really, really, really stand out. But either way, so what I want to like kind of transition now is to co-hosting. So you start what was the point when you started managing? And frankly, I mean, when you're co-hosting, you know, things like this you just don't even have to care about.
Yeah, exactly. 100% right. So co-hosting probably started like a little over a year and a half ago. And I was just doing my own thing. And then I had somebody just randomly reach out to me and say, hey, look, would you consider managing like a property? And I was just like, yeah, sure. Like, I'll take a look at it. Completely gutted place, 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo, no HOA like restrictions, and you could walk to the beach. And so that property was doing $110,000, and I was making 20% off the top. So I was just like, hey, this kind of makes sense. Like, no down payment, no design, interest rates are going up, no cash out of my pocket. So I was just like, dude, this is a no-brainer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the beginning, I was really good at finding clients, but I didn't enjoy the management side of it, the operation side of it, because at the end of the day, it's a business, right?
Sure.
So my background originally was in sales and wealth management. So I ended up finding my business partner, Hannon Kim. I'm not sure if you met Hannon, but she runs all the operations and all the day-to-day. And I've been able to develop these funnels over the past year and a half to be able to have.
She was there last night. Right?
Yeah, she was there last night.
We hung out.
Yeah. All right, cool. So I've been able to develop these funnels to figure out a way to have clients organically find me, as well as do some cold outreach and target larger property managers and convert them from their current management over to my management. That's what allowed us to scale.
And that's what we want to get into, because that's the juice. It's how do we get co-host clients? How did you get co-host clients initially, and then how do we get them today? Yeah,
absolutely. So how I scaled so quickly, I scaled to 13 clients in 60 days, and that was just strictly through targeting Vacasa and Evolve clients. So I found a data engineer that could pull the addresses for those actual owners.
Mm-hmm.
So once you have those addresses, you can then skip trace those addresses, get those phone numbers, get those mailing addresses, get those email addresses, and then you can set up these funnels where they either get a postcard. And if you're just starting your business and you have a very luxury property that you're targeting, what I always recommend to people is put a photo of you and your family, or you and your dog if you don't have a significant other.
Your story.
Build on those
sell your story.
Those heart keys. But honestly, in my opinion, what converts the best is just honestly getting on a phone call with somebody, asking them how their experience has been with Vacasa, Evolve, Turnkey, and 80% of the time it's negative.
Yeah.
So
they are warm,
dude. It's so hot because they have no idea that you're out there, that you're available. You're a boutique property manager, and
that you'll actually talk to them.
Yeah, you'll have a conversation and adjust their.
And that's generally their pain point, is that they haven't been able to get someone on the phone.
Exactly. 100%.
They haven't been able to get their property manager, who they're paying 30% to respond to the issues that they're dealing with. So just by you talking to them, you are already
100%
alleviating.
Dude, and the biggest thing is that what they're not doing, and if they don't fix this, they're going under, man. I talked to a client 3 days ago. They didn't have a single booking for January.
In Florida.
Not in Florida. Thank God.
I was like, that is
not in Florida,
bad.
Thank God.
I was like, damn.
I'll be honest. No, it was in the Smoky Mountains. But although, if you look at price labs, the market can support 55%, even in low season. So keeping that in mind, you have no bookings, you should at least have half of that, which would be 15 days out of the year or out of the month. And they didn't have that. It's just kind of sad if you really think about all right, you're supposed to be providing the service and this value, and then you're not getting anything in return.
Yeah.
This is messed up.
And guys, just to contextualize kind of like where we are right now, we are literally sitting in a glass box at this conference, and people are, I guess there's a break or something.
People are just staring at us.
Out and staring at us like we're in a zoo or something. Like we're not real people.
Oh, here comes another one. Here comes another.
Like we're being exhibited right now. This is kind of funny. But all right, back to your point. So you were able to skip trace, high warm leads via Vacasa, Evolve,
Turnkey.
Okay, is that a strategy you're still doing today, or?
Yeah, so I'll still use it today. Like what I'll do is like once a month, I'll go on this website, see if any new sexy properties came on the market, and then I'll reach out to them.
Yeah.
So you can. That's the best way.
You like sexy properties.
Yeah, like because you can filter like on their website, like pool home, 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms. Like they can keep the shit, like the bad properties, man. They can keep those to themselves. But so that allowed me to scale in the beginning. What I did now is I built these organic funnels. Like, so a marketing company will reach out to you and ask you to pay like $3,000, $5,000 to do your SEO. Don't do that. You can honestly just do it yourself. So if you just build like a Wix website with keywords like Airbnb property management and implement some Google reviews as well, it'll drive you in the Google algorithm to page 1. So just to give you an idea for like West Palm Airbnb property management, I'm number 6 on page 1, and I've never spent any money on SEO whatsoever. Like implementing those small little things.
Just making a website for each location you're in.
Yeah, exactly.
And just call it, Fort Lauderdale Airbnb management.com or, and then putting a Google address.
Yeah.
That when you do the Google address, do you need to get somewhere in that city to like pick up because Google sends like a code to like a mail, like a mailbox.
Yeah, exactly. So so you need that too. But you can get a what's it called? Like a remote location where you pay like $100 like a month, and then that can be like your address. I've done that before. So it doesn't cost that much, and then you get mail sent there too. So,
guys, so we're getting into the nitty gritty, tangible ways to build your cost. So, do you just get calls or emails or form submissions on these websites?
Yeah. So I always have my email address, my phone number, and then like a form submission page. So like sometimes people will call me and it'll pop up on like my because I use Google Voice, so it'll pop up when like a potential new client is calling me, so I know how to answer. And then like a key thing that a lot of people don't think about is if you call back within the first 2 to 3 minutes, your conversion of converting them from a prospect to a client goes up like 5x.
Yeah.
And people don't think about that.
Because it's warm on their mind.
Exactly.
So because they might forget, like, did I reach out to you? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. You call them back quick, they're like, oh, wow.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, and also, again, it's that pain point. I mean, this is why I think it's like, and I'm excited for folk really to sit in like, again, like I think like the 25 property under management like world is a really, 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 really good world to live in. Like comparatively to all the different businesses out there and, ways you can quit your job because you can give that individual attention. Yeah. If you're managing 300-400 properties, you've got to hire people under you. You've got to get your owners into the Slack channels and create a process for them to like deal with your queries. But really at that 25, like you can pretty much deal with like or keep those relationships warm and attend to their issues, as well as get great cash flow. You're not having. I was talking to someone yesterday with like 310 properties. For Syed, he's total beast. He's been on the podcast, Syed Latif. But at 310, you just like you deal with like more. Yeah, there's just more things happen.
You're right, like, dude. There's more headache on the day to day.
So what's it like? Well, I guess you're not on the operation side of things. Are you on like the client relationship side of things still? Yeah,
so client relationship as well. For example, like what a good advice for you guys, if you're like having owners text you and call you, try to get everything to go through an actual email address, like an info at your company's URL, whatever you want to call it. Because like, for example, like we're in Nashville right now. If I'm getting text from an owner, I might miss it and then they're frustrated. So
totally
just like tell them, hey, like send an email here. Somebody from our team will get back to you within like 24 hours. It's just like,
and that's what you got to do as you scale. Like sometimes owners who are with you on day one, and they're used to like being able to like text you or call you, and then you like put them in like a group with like your team, then they still text you and
you tell them over and over, hey, just send an email. But this is faster. Like it needs to get handled faster is what they like. Sometimes they reply.
Well, and just to be frank, they want, and frankly, like some owners don't want to ever talk to you. Like they literally just like, hey, you do your thing and send me that monthly report. and I just want to make sure I have confidence the money will hit my account.
Yeah.
And other than that, we're good. But then, frankly, this is like an emotional people, especially like South Florida. A lot of people, I'm assuming they're vacation homes.
Yeah, you would think so, but like that's
an investors.
It's mainly in investors now. Like some people, you'll get like vacation homes, which those are the best clients to actually have. You want to target the second homeowners, vacation homes, but like the people that I found that are like investors are like the highest like HMOs because they're always focused on their bottom line. So they're always digging into the end of the month spreadsheets that you send them. They want to know how their revenue management is going. Like they're in it for the actual money. So there can be more headaches whenever you see those too. So I try to stay away from them. If you're trying to like just build like something like a little bit more passive and not that much effort, try to just focus on the second homeowners.
Yeah, because they're just like, all right, they're taking care of things.
Yeah.
We're getting some supplemental income.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really like defining the type of customer you want to work with is super important. But ultimately, getting leads and deal flow is super important. So are there any other tips or advice you have? And I see we got Sean Rekovich from Airbnb Automated standing outside our glass. He's not looking at us, but
okay,
cool. I've seen that guy's stuff. He's one of the OG.
Yeah, he was doing Airbnb YouTube like way back in the day before even anybody thought about Airbnb. It seems like
he was pretty much the first one who started talking about 100%. It. And he has a big YouTube channel, Facebook group. Yeah, has a large beard right now too, from what I'm seeing, as well as a ponytail.
There you go.
I think he may have just came here from like Tulum or something.
Yeah, dude, living the life. Dude, I love Tulum. But let me jump back on topic.
All right, on top. Sorry, we're a little distracted as there's literally hundreds of people just walking in front of us.
All good. Yeah, man. So I think a big thing that a lot of people don't think about is their relationships, right? So you can build pretty solid relationships in your actual market because there's a lack of value that agents are portraying to real estate buyers that are looking to get into short-term rentals. So a lot of people have no idea how to run their numbers. So maybe they've heard of AirDNA, they plug it into the calculator, say, hey, look, you may be able to potentially make, I don't know, $5,000 a month on this property, and then the agent's selling that, and then they buy the actual property and they're not making $5,000, maybe they're making $3,000, so on and so forth. So I think if you can portray value to real estate agents, mortgage brokers on the front end as well as the back end, I think that can organically lead to more clients in the future. So
send them BNB Calc branded report.
There you go. So what you do is you go to their actual office, give them a presentation to all their agents, show them how to actually run their numbers effectively, and say, hey, look, if you have any questions whenever you're looking for an actual property, feel free to send me an email. I'm happy to walk through that with you. And then on the back end, whenever that owner closes on the actual property, they need a manager. That agent is then referring it over to you, and then you're then giving them a referral fee of $500 to $1,000. So you're adding value on the front end, teaching them how to run their numbers, and then you're adding the value on the back end by giving them a referral fee.
Bribing.
Yeah.
Bribing, great way to do.
Exactly.
That's one of the most proven methods in the history of business.
Yeah. So if you can just get in, that's the thing. People are scared to get in front of like agents and real estate brokerages. If you can actually do that, that's like another way that can consistently feed you traffic without you spending any money. Just send them B&B Calc, put some branding on it, and then go about it that way.
Awesome. Well, so you've got this funnel. You're getting leads galore.
Yeah.
So how do you, your business partner? She's amazing. We had lengthy conversation yesterday.
Yeah.
How do you guys for those folk out there who either have a business partner, they're looking to partner? I think what I've gathered is what you're good at. You're good. You're sales guy. You present yourself well. You have swaggy outfits.
Thank you, sir.
So when you show up at the realtors, realtors are very, they're very, I think appearances are very important to realtors.
Definitely.
So you present well. So what you're good at.
Yeah.
And so how'd you find a partner who kind of complemented your skills?
Yeah, dude. So one thing I want to touch on first is a lot of people in the beginning, whenever they're thinking about going into a partnership, they usually just go into a partnership with their best friend, and they don't really think about the skill sets that each individual person have. What do they have and what do you have? And then how does that work together? So with me, in the very beginning, I was just I just realized, hey, look, I don't enjoy operations. I'm not good at operations. You've been doing Airbnb since 2015. I got in 2019, 2020, if you will. So
2015, wow, real OG.
Yeah, dude. She was like back in the day.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I don't even know about Airbnb in 2015. I was still in high school. But yeah, man. So just understanding what the other person is good at and what you're not good at, and if you can combine that, that's the only time that you could that you should start and build a partnership. If you can't mash those two things together, if you're both not adding value to each other, there's no reason to get into that partnership at all.
Got it. So she complements. She's more operational.
Yeah, exactly. If think about it, man, if you've been doing Airbnb for, I don't know, 10 years, I mean, you probably know a few things.
It was a little more difficult back then because there's so much less technology too.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, things have gone to the point pretty easy in terms of operating. Again, there's levels to it, 25 or 5 versus 10 versus 25 versus 100.
Exactly.
But in my opinion, even a lot easier than it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
To manage properties at scale.
Yeah, dude, that's a huge thing too. Like, new technology is coming out every single day, and it's allowing us to leverage it and make co-hosting or Airbnb property management more passive, which is what I love, man. And then one thing that a lot of people don't think about with like co-hosting. So I had 2 people reach out to me the other day. They were trying to find new clients to acquire for co-hosting. I was just like, hey, like, how's it been going so far with you? Like, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, just like somebody found me through my social media or something. Mm-hmm. But the thing is like, we went through the whole process. I helped them like set up the design or whatever. And then they decided to go with Vacasa at the end of the day. I'm just like, well, you're lacking the sell skills. Like, you should be assuming the sell and then guiding them in the process to close the actual
also,
deal.
If you're helping them set up a property,
I know, right?
You better have the deal inked or be charging a hefty enough setup fee
100%
to make that worth your while.
Yeah.
That's what I always tell people is like, you got to charge a setup fee. Because really, frankly, the setup of the property is the most intensive part. And, setting up the listing, syncing it to your property management system, syncing it to your dynamic pricing software, coming up with the revenue management strategy. Like, on the front end's the most work. So if you help someone through that entire process, you charge for it. Yeah. You definitely charge for it. I mean, I've had people, people I work with ask me, hey, do I like front some of the furniture purchases because whatever they're having, their card or whatever issues. I'm like, no. Yeah, they pay for it, dude. They pay you, or you like, coordinate them paying vendors to do everything. Like,
I couldn't imagine. Look, it's the car wheels walking by right now.
Hey, this is Sarah didn't even notice. She's laser focused.
Damn,
she's
locked in. Yeah, dude, that's the thing. Like, all right, so if you're a co-host and you're trying to get new clients, or maybe you had 1 or 2 clients reach out to you, you need to guide them in the process. Like, assume that you are the market expert and your ideal market industry expert. If you do that, you guide them on the call, tell them, all right, this is what happens. I'm going to determine if you fit my brand, and then I may bring you on. If you come at it that way, they're going to want to work with you so much more. If you're coming at it from a scarcity mindset that, hey, I want you to work with me, I want you to constantly following up with them, that's where you end up losing the sale, and they go to like a shitty manager like Vacasa. Again, the reason they go with Vacasa is because Vacasa has their marketing and their sales down to a T. They just can't deliver on the actual service that they provide. So just be confident in yourself, you guys. That's the biggest thing. And learn how to guide them in the actual sell.
Yeah, and be the expert. I think that's something you've touched on before, but being an expert and being confident, because frankly, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
ultimately. So if you're able to just exude, hey, I know what I'm doing. I've got a hand on this, and you don't need a portfolio. You don't need a single listing to kind of in this space become a quote unquote like expert.
100%.
That's the nature. It's a new enough space where anyone. I mean, you're an expert. I'm an expert. And a couple of years ago, we literally had no clue about anything.
I don't even know what an Airbnb was.
Yeah, I listed on Verbo first. I actually didn't even know what Airbnb was.
Yeah.
So okay, awesome. So what is your pro tip for someone for those listening who want to get after it and really grow something cool?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, man, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners have heard this, is just take action. Right in the very beginning, it's going to be scary to start anything new, but success loves speed. The sooner you start throwing shit at the actual wall, the sooner things start sticking, and you get more comfortable as well as confident, and you'll just continue growing your business or starting your business. So just get out there, take that action, make that first phone call, targeting a Vacasa client, or start your website, get in front of a real estate agent. Because the sooner that you start, the sooner that you're going to get to your end result, and the happier that you're going to be that you did it in the beginning.
Awesome. And that's all we want to be happy.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, okay, awesome. Well, how can folk find you? Stay tuned with your journey.
Yeah, man. Feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. My handle is Austin__Palacios. AUSTIN _ and then PALACIOS.
Maybe I have to look at my Instagram and see who I'm following or something to find that one.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy, bro. Because like I moved my handles around so much back in the day, and then I tried to go back to the original one, and it was gone. Somebody snaked it from me. So now I got 2 underscores.
I bought all the Austin. I'm now letting him know we can work a deal out.
Dude.
I'll give you your handles back,
dude. I'm willing to pay, man. Just let me know a price.
Well, we'll negotiate offline.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for coming today, and everybody listening. Stay tuned to the next episode of the Short Term Rental Pros podcast.